The tale of Pablo Escobar, one of history's most powerful, wealthy, and violent criminals, has captivated people all over the world. But up until now, his wife Victoria Eugenia Henao, who is the one person closest to him, has remained silent. Henao has, for the first time, agreed to write all the life story of her husband Pablo Escobar, the most notorious drug lord in the world, according to publishers Penguin Random House India. It is sure to be one of the most eagerly awaited true crime memoirs of our time. Welcome to the channel, to the world of everything related to the global underworld. Let's learn more by diving in. Ready? Let's go. While Pablo Escobar was known to the outside world as a cold-blooded killer, to his family he was simply a devoted husband and father. Maria Victoria Henao is the only person who can more fully concur with this assertion. Maria was Pablo Escobar's wife up until 1993, when the Colombian drug lord was shot and killed by police on the roof of a neighborhood in Medellin. The woman who stood at Pablo's side and showed him unending devotion is described in this tale as Maria. Visit legit.ng for more information on Maria Victoria Henao's biography and what happened to Pablo Escobar's wife. The late drug lord Pablo Escobar's ex-wife Maria Victoria Henao reportedly led a lavish lifestyle. She now has a nomadic existence. Henao was born in 1961, married young, and by the time she was 32, she had lost her husband. Despite his illicit activities, her marriage to Escobar lasted 17 years and was by all accounts a happy one. He was a cold-blooded killer to the rest of the world, but to his family, he was just a devoted father and husband. Their lives were left with a huge emptiness after his death, and they were also in great danger. This is the tale of Maria, the marriage to the most infamous drug dealer in human history, and Maria's subsequent recovery. The early years of the fiercely private Maria are mostly unknown. She was undoubtedly born in 1961 in Palmira Valle del Cauca, Colombia, to Carlos Henao Vallejo and his wife Leonor Zuleta. She shared a childhood with her siblings, Pastora Henao Vallen and Carlos Mario Henao Vallejo, and is believed that she loved to dance, something she still does occasionally. When Maria was just 13 years old and working with Pablo Escobar, her brother Carlos introduced them. They quickly fell in love and made the decision to get married. Maria married the man she calls her soulmate at the young age of 15. Maria explains how Escobar wooed her with presents and love songs in her new book, My Life in Prison with Pablo Escobar. He made me feel like a fairy princess, and I was certain he was my Prince Charming, she writes. But things weren't always peaches and cream in their relationship. Maria's family was well aware of Carlos's illicit activities because of his association with Escobar and violently opposed the union. The couple was then compelled to flee, and a year later, at the age of 16, Maria gave birth to Juan Pablo Escobar alone, without the help of her parents or siblings. 7 years later, Manuela Escobar, their daughter, was born. It seems likely that Maria knew about Pablo's drug dealing before they were even married because of her brother's business partnership with him. However, Maria maintains in her book that she was not informed while her husband increased cocaine manufacturing. Uncertainty exists as to whether Maria chose to remain silent or whether she genuinely believed her husband's innocence prior to his arrest in 1977. However, it appears that Maria thought Pablo worked in real estate at the time. He pretended to be naive after being caught trying to bring cocaine into Ecuador by claiming that his friend was the one who had done it. He'd been set up. Maria knew that her spouse was not the guy she believed him to be, despite her innocence. She reflects on the day she discovered Pablo had planned the murder of Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, saying, "I realized that day we were in a major situation. My life and the lives of my children will be challenging." She still adored her husband and thought it was her responsibility to be a good mother and wife. She was left with no choice but to persevere. Escobar was, on the other hand, a devoted husband and father. He cherished his wife and his kids, especially his daughter, who was unquestionably a daddy's girl. In her older years, Maria recalled that he was loving and charming, a wonderful lover. His willingness to assist others and his empathy for their plight won me over. We would travel to locations where he desired to construct poor-quality schools. He was always a gentleman from the start. The drug lord, on the other hand, was a known cheater. It was simple to cheat because Pablo spent so much time away from his family working in the drug trade, and it's been reported that Escobar had a large number of extramarital affairs with women he met in a variety of locations, including journalist Virginia Vallejo. Vallejo claims to have known Escobar for more than 5 years and claims to have seen him some 220 times, about 80 of them accompanied by an army of friends, followers, employees, or bodyguards. Was his wife informed about this and other flings? Without a doubt. It is alleged that everyone knew about his affairs. Additionally, she and her family were constantly being followed by the media and threatened by Escobar's foes and government organizations. She remained, so why? Vallejo makes the claim that Maria was dependent on the opulent lifestyle she had with Pablo in her book, Loving Pablo, Hating Escobar. Maria may have also been aware of how difficult it would be for her to care for her family on her alone without the help of her spouse. Or maybe it was just that she loved him so much that she was prepared to overlook everything. On a rooftop in Medellin on December 2, 1993, a group of Colombian policemen with U.S. support killed Pablo. Escobar allegedly made a phone call to his wife out of poor judgment, which the police were able to track down and utilize to find him. Juan, his son, disagrees with this theory and claims that he thinks his father committed suicide. In the years immediately following Pablo's passing, Maria and her kids' lives became more difficult. Maria wanted to leave Colombia because she was constantly concerned about her husband's ex-colleagues retaliating. Unfortunately, the family was left penniless after the authorities searched their home and seized all of their belongings. It was difficult for them to find refuge because they had little money and no countries that wanted to take them in. She spent months working to get all three of them visas to enter Mozambique in 1994, and she eventually succeeded. She yearned for a secure home, but the family was trailed wherever they went by Pablo's reputation. In order to protect her family, Maria was compelled to relocate frequently changing her identity in the process. Juan became Sebastián Marroquín, and Manuela became Juana Manuela Marroquín Santos, and so did her children. Escobar's widow was ultimately allowed to establish a residence in Argentina after changing her identity to Maria Isabel Santos Caballero. Despite their warnings, Maria and her son were detained in 1999 when a television program disclosed their whereabouts. Once there, she and her family kept a very low profile. Theft and money laundering were the accusations made against them. Because I'm Colombian, Argentina has imprisoned me. Because they want to demonstrate that Argentina is fighting drug trafficking, they want to put the spirit of Pablo Escobar on trial, Maria remarked. They were both freed after 15 months because the evidence was weak. Maria has since returned to living a quiet life away from the spotlight. Her son is an architect, a professor, and the author of the best-selling book, Pablo Escobar, My Father. Her daughter has severed all contact with the family and has never publicly mentioned her father. In the history of organized crime, Pablo Escobar has earned a position alongside figures like Al Capone and Lucky Luciano by leading a high-risk lifestyle. But both for him and his loved ones, it had a cost. The cost was too high for anyone to cash out or be free of. The pressures of the legacy left behind by mafia bosses such as this phenomenally upsetting. As generations are troubled and challenged by the opinions and case-by-case scenarios that every passing human judges of these individuals' families, we capture and imprison. There is no remedy or way around it for people to try and see the families from a fair light of honesty, as that concept has left the building. Thank you for watching. Follow for more.